Good morning, everyone. My name is Tomas Ferrero, and I am going to talk about a period of art called Romanticism and an artist that I really like from this period called Francisco de Goya. Romanticism happened from 1780 to 1848, so we can say that it started in the late 18th century and it finished in the early mid 19th century. This period was against Industrial Revolution, so they painted small cities, small villages, nature, local landscapes. They didn't paint any big cities or big conglomerations of people because nature was above humans. It started in Germany and then spread to France, Spain, here's where Goya is from, and all of Europe. It is the real end of Baroque. We have a sudden change between the two periods and they are very different. It showed different topics, the main ones being revolution, religion, naturalism or turbulent nature, drama and local scenes. It got its inspiration from the Middle Ages and also from Oriental art. It is the opposite of neoclassicism. Artists used looser and less precise brushstrokes, and they were very abstract. The seas, skies, and oceans were very prominent in all of their paintings, except obviously the ones showing local villages. Many artists painted horrifying images and grotesque images criticizing society and leaders, and so did Goya. And talking about Goya, it's a good moment to start with him. He is considered the father of modern art. He was born in 1746 in Fuentedoros, Spain. He was the son of a gilder, and he spent his early years in Zaragoza, Spain, copying his first artworks from Rembrandt or Velázquez. Then he moved to Madrid. There he learned a lot about art and moved to Rome to keep studying. Then he was appointed to the Spanish royal court. There his story with the nobility begins. He started painting tapestry for a German member of nobility, but then kings started to contract him to paint portraits. This was his field, and kings recognized him for that. There's this painting called La Maja Desnuda, and it's very famous, but it has a tricky story behind it. It goes like this. A very important church person wanted him to paint La Maja Desnuda, but he couldn't have a picture of a naked woman in his house. So he asked Goya to paint the same picture, but with clothes. And then, using a system of pallies, he managed to show the clothed women when persons were in his house, but pulling a pallie, he would move the naked woman over the clothed one so he could see that painting. But in 1792 he became completely deaf. This was a big obstacle for him, but during his recovery he started painting and kept painting, but a different style. He painted more women's and his style changed a bit. A funny anecdote is that once he had to paint a portrait of Charles IV family, and he did so and spent lots of time and hard work, but he made every face in that picture look caricaturesque. He had no fear. This is probably the biggest event in Goya's life. In 1796, after being appointed as director of the Royal Academy, he moved to etchings, and he made a series of 80 artworks called Los Caprichos. There he painted the repression, the greed, and the violence from the Inquisition in Spain. He was really criticized because of these paintings. Eventually, he isolated himself in a countryside home. This was his last period and probably the darkest. Between 1819 and 1823, he painted a series of artworks called the Black Ones in the walls of his very own house, the most prominent being Saturn eating his own son. He died in France, exiled in 1928.